Good evening. So I think many of you have met me and maybe some of you haven't, but uh, I'm Sreela ma'am and I founded SpeakSmart good 20 years back. And the whole idea was that it is beyond public speaking. What I wanted to achieve here is that effective communication happens. So, very simply, I'm just going to explain to you why we are calling it effective communication and not just public speaking. Okay, see, a person may speak with a lot of confidence and you may know your content very well. Hmm. But however, just that speaking without a purpose will not be effective communication. So that is the thing. So when in life we always have a particular purpose to achieve, how do we communicate in a way that helps us to achieve that purpose? So how speaking comes in is, say for instance, even in a debate, you are trying to convince a person of that you have to agree with me. Okay, on television, it's public speaking, but your purpose is very different. You want to hold attention, you want to entertain a person, so that they listen to you and you talk in that particular way. Maybe when you are, traveling, you want a discount from a hotel. So it is not about proving anybody right or wrong. It is not only about having something to say. It is about understanding that, yes, I have something to say, but this is what I actually want out of what I am saying. This is who I am talking to. And then proceeding to communicate so that your communication is more effective. And why is that? Who am I talking to important? Like, say, for instance, today, if I am talking to parents, I use an example, maybe of Tagore or something like that, which older people relate to. However, if I'm talking to students who have no idea, then I should change the story into maybe a pop culture figure or somebody or a footballer. So, are you able to hear me? Yes, ma'am. So for years, basically, this was part of my struggle because everybody was looking for public speaking classes, but very few people were interested in effective communication. So effective communication basically means that whoever works with us, we work on the thinking skills of the student so that you are able to be effective in all formats of speaking. So in a conversation on a dinner table, if you are not going to acknowledge what the other person is saying, and you are talking like a debate, then you will end up messing up all relationships. Okay, so in a conversation, acknowledgement is a very important factor. So the way we teach it in Speak Smart is we do various formats. We take a topic, we discuss it with the students, we change the audience, and every class they are presenting. So it is very objective focused. It may seem playful, but it is very objective focused. And also, you see, speaking as a subject rather, is a very different format from writing or reading. So often I have a student who is very well read. Okay, but let me just share with you today, if I pick up a book, by J.K. Rowling and I'm reading out Harry Potter, okay, it is still going to be an effective reading of Harry Potter. Okay, it is not going to be a storytelling of Harry Potter because speaking is a different format. So, of course, we have students who are well read. Sometimes we have students who are good writers in essays. But how many times in the real world are you actually using an essay? Okay, like speaking is really the most used currency you have to increase your self-worth, your net worth, whatever. Whereas, and if you do not do it efficiently and effectively, then also you lose out and you don't optimize life. So whether you are a lawyer, whether you are a businessman, whether you are a doctor, whether you are just trying to have a good healthy relationship with your spouse or your partner, whether with your employer, whether your son or daughter, if you are not able to communicate effectively, there will be a lot of lack, there will be a lot of communication gaps that leads to a lot of problems later. And if you look at it the reverse side, if you are able to understand the basic concepts and you are able to use it at all points of time in life, not just on stage, not just during an exam, then obviously you are going to optimize and achieve, far more out of the one life that each of us have. Okay, so this is more or less about our classes. So today I specifically wanted to talk to you that other than the classes, we also have at SpeakSmart effective communication skills exams. Okay. So exams means there is a syllabus and there is a board. Okay. So it is not, even if you say Trinity College London and our SpeakSmart exam is Aristri, it's not a brick and mortar presence where something like that. So there is a syllabus which the students follow. And both these exams, whether it is Aristri, which is SpeakSmart's flagship exam, we also have government certificate for it, or it is the UK certified Trinity exam. They're absolutely practical exams. So for every level or every grade, you have maybe 3 to 4 tasks, sometimes 5 tasks, where the student will get up and actually make a presentation. So sometimes you are making a presentation, sometimes you are having a conversation with the examiner, and that is it. So this is how you take appear for the exam. It is an individual exam, so it may be online, it may be physical with the examiner, but it is individual and it is live. Okay. And what you get with every exam is, of course, you get a certificate. In the case of Trinity, you get a UK certification. In the case of Aristry, you get 2 certificates. That is, one is the SpeakSmart certification saying Aristry exam, and you also get a certification from NSDC, that is the National Skills Development Corporation. That is a GOI certification. Okay. But what is also important and much more important than the certificate is you get a written report with both the exams, where the student is told for every format, this is how you performed, this is how you could improve, this is where you spoke too fast, this is exactly what happened. And this is very exceptional, because most examinations will give you either a mark or a grade, and that's all that you have unless you challenge your paper. Okay. So that is why we recommend for all students to appear for the exam, so that you have a healthy experience of presenting whatever you have to that task to an examiner. Okay, it's a real world test. Because also what happens is, here, when we teach at SpeakSmart, we often take a topic and everybody presents on the topic in their own way. But for the exam, irrespective of which level, a student gets to choose their own topic and present it. So it does a lot of clarification, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of goals. All those get clarified in life. Okay. So with that, I'm quickly maybe going to show you a little bit of the syllabus itself, so that as parents and students, you are able to understand what is happening here. All right. So I'm just going to share screen and show you the syllabus. One sec. Okay. So this is the Aristry syllabus, which I have designed. Okay. So I'm just showing you. See, this is a level 1, which is very simple, where, say, for instance, the students will just talk about themselves. Here, they will talk about something, maybe an inspiring person or a living thing, whatever they wish. Okay, let me take you to level 2, it's better. So level 2 again moves up. There's a level alpha, there's a level 1. Whereas the student is just speaking about themselves. So level 2 becomes a little different, because here, yes, you are talking about yourself. And like everything is important. Like even in networking, how do you present yourself in a way that you stand out? All right. Here, when I say the second task in level 2 is different from, say, a level 1 or a level alpha, is there you would talk about a book or an object. Here, you see in the second task, every level is stepped up. So you are actually recommending the book. So it is not just talking about your book. You are kind of telling somebody else this book is really good, or this place I traveled to is worth going to, and you are recommending. So when you're recommending, it has other things. Okay. And what we have done is, for every task also that is part of the syllabus, there is the task that is explained. And like, just to share this task also with you, you see there's a lot of flexibility. Like even speak about and recommend, every student can choose. If you don't read, you can choose a movie to recommend. Okay, you can choose a TV series to recommend. You can choose to say that I went on this trip, or I, come to Victoria Memorial or visit my school, it doesn't matter. So here, every student has the flexibility of choosing something that really interests them. All right. And also, what is good about the Aristri syllabus is there is a section called the candidate may consider. And here we give the student guidance about how to kind of arrange the speech. What are the criteria that we are looking for? So I don't have the time today to go through every level. However, I will show you some things which I think are interesting or important. Okay, so I'm sharing a level 3. Here, level 3 is, this is sorry, I'm coming to level 3. Just give me a moment, please.
A little, ma'am, a little below. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So level 3 has, say, 4 things. So the first thing is demonstrate and explain. So that simply means when you're demonstrating and explaining, it is, say, it could be, I'll just share with you, I've just kept some notes. So whether it could be an activity, a process, or a phenomenon. So what does it mean? So say, for instance, the student may be making a YouTube video, or you're simply physically explaining in class. So again, according to your interest, how it could be how to do origami. It could be how to bake a cake, make a cup of tea. It could be explaining the water cycle. All right. It could be explaining anything that interests you, but explaining in a way that you show its importance, show the basic steps, show how it is relevant for the audience. Okay. So this is where effective communication comes in, which is very different from one-sided speaking that you're just doing a process. Uh, the next thing here is to talk about a concern or a change. So here, again, the student has to observe the real world. So what could they be concerned about? That there's very little family time. Maybe there are too many people who are just so addicted to their devices. Maybe you're concerned about global warming. So here we encourage a student to pick up a cause which really they feel strongly about, and again they present it in an effort to make the presentation. So you would kind of make the audience aware of this concern and try to influence and bring about a slight change in behavior other than the awareness. Okay, so you try to get some kind of support for what is happening. That is the purpose with which you are making this presentation. Okay, task 3 here again is debate. This is very popular because all our students like to debate. So I'm not getting into debate with detail. But again, here also we give you a little bit of guidance. I mean, we do a lot of debates in class, but a debate statement is like framing a claim. Okay, so this is what I'm claiming, that maybe handwriting is good for you, or uniforms should be worn in school. So that is the claim. Then how do you actually take real world evidence, maybe data, maybe some illustrative stories, which you kind of connect back to the topic, and you try to develop an argument to prove the claim. And thereby you gently persuade your audience to agree with you. So that is debate. We have a choice there. Now, in every section, starting from level alpha to level 8, what we also have is, you'll see with every task itself, we have a follow-up conversation with the examiner to check whether it's original work, and for the student to just get used to this, natural talking. No matter what comes on, to you, you are able to kind of process an answer. Also, at every level, we have a little bit of this, where it is a practically oriented thing where you learn to apply your vocal skills and your body language. So we draw attention, like maybe at the initial levels, it's only eye contact. Then here, at this level, it becomes eye contact and facial expression, because both of them have a very important role in communication. Say I'm just talking very deadpan without any expression, not ever smiling at the audience, it is going to have a different impact. Okay. Then we bring in use of gestures, personal space. In a conversation, you don't flap your hands like that. Okay, when you're addressing a larger audience like Modi, you extend your arms. So you get a sense of how to use your gestures, what are appropriate gestures. These things we start drawing attention to, and not as a theoretical exercise. So what the student is required to do is, like if you're talking about gestures, you will cite your gestures from your little speech that you have prepared, maybe in one of these, where you will show that I use this gesture to maybe achieve this point. So if you're emphasizing, you're showing this point is really important, or listen to me, okay, or this is a key changing point in your life. Okay, so we teach them to effectively use gestures, not just randomly gesture. Okay, so at every level, these things are there. At level 4, again a very very interesting level, because level 4 has different types of tasks again. So the first one is an inspiration. I'm not getting into the details, but very simply, how you inspire people through a personal story, little bit like a TED talk that you share. And you don't give people a lecture, but just by sharing your own personal experience of maybe a challenge you faced, or a particular achievement, or an interest or a passion, you are indirectly motivating them that, if I could go through this and achieve this, and it's, such a great place to be, I conquered this challenge, you could too. So this is an indirect task. The second task is, there's a choice here, motivate and persuade. So again, this is a direct task. So direct task means, I'll show you. So here the choices are, either it's a leadership pitch where you say vote for me. So how do you campaign that you will tell students that why should they vote for me? First, by showing I'm credible, I deserve this position, these are my achievements, you can rely on me, this is the vision that I have, this is what I hope to do for you, I'm going to be available for you, so therefore kindly vote for me. Can you understand? So there is a direct ask here, because after all these things, if you don't clearly say, do vote for me, then you miss your direct call to action. All right. And there's a choice here, or again, a direct ask. If you want people to join something, maybe you want them to join a robotics session, maybe you want them to join a public speaking class, maybe you just want them to join an activity, they come and clean up the road in front of my school. Okay, so here again it's a direct task. You will similarly rationally explain to them, this is a good cause, it is interesting, it is maybe going to serve these purposes for society, maybe it is going to help you also in these ways. You learn discipline, maybe you can put it on your CV, you explain this is the amount of time it takes, this is what you need for it, thereby please join this activity. Okay, so it's a direct task. So are you understanding a little bit about choosing the audience and different formats of speaking, which that exposure happens through the exam? And again, this is one of my favorite tasks that we start with level 4 itself. This is level 4, we start with basics of negotiation. So the whole point of my introducing it here is, in my experience, people always want things, okay? And the way we ask for it, so whether you want a cell phone, whether you want a puppy, whether you want to spend overnight at a friend's house, whether you want, marks from a teacher, whether whatever it is you want in life, most of our students often end up, kind of begging us by repeatedly saying the same thing, ma'am, please do it, or please give it to me. Okay, so they don't really quite get the basics of negotiation. Again, it firstly, you don't get what you want out of life, it messes up relationships if you don't do it well. Whereas if you strategically ask, see, again, we guide you that, for instance, let me stop the share and explain a little bit about this module. Because so when a person understands that negotiation is first about, say for instance, my father is not allowing me to spend the night at another person's house, do I understand why he is not allowing me? So if I don't even listen smartly to understand why he is not allowing me to stay at my friend's house, why my parent doesn't want to give me the cell phone or keep a puppy, or why, if I don't understand that person's concerns, how can I ever negotiate? It's not just about I want in life. Okay, so that is one example. Then only if you understand that person's concerns and fears, can you say that, okay, then I'll take responsibility, and you can allay that concern or the fear. Okay, so this is just an example of negotiation. And in this also, we would finish with reflection. And as you can see that now the focus starts on how to use your voice, how to use pause, how to emphasize with your voice. Okay. So every level, this is the way your skills basically get upgraded. And then there's level 5. Campaign has very different, like if you want to be a little bit of an activist, how do you campaign? You create awareness. Then after creating the awareness, you show people how it's hurting you, thereby creating the desire that yes, I want to engage with this cause. And then step by step, how exactly do you engage? Because if it is global warming, it's not only the government's responsibility. You explain that even my not using plastic today goes towards that cause. Okay. So that is campaign. Here again, the student can choose whatever topic they wish to according to their interest in life. Okay. Uh, Not getting into everything, like say news, already I mentioned that how to hold attention, how to choose something newsworthy. That is important because it's large numbers, attractive news. You can't do it something that's very old, then it's irrelevant for news, no matter how interesting it is. So news has its own features. Again, at this level, the most interesting and again the challenging part is from level 5, we start with teaching students with impromptu speaking. So impromptu speaking means that we will give them prompts. And again, in the candidate may consider section, we will teach them that 15 minutes before the exam, you will be getting a prompt. You have to choose out of the 5 prompts, you have to choose which one you wish to talk about. And we will teach them how to arrange and talk about whatever prompt they have received. Okay. So this is a very, very important training going forward in life, that it builds confidence, no doubt. But the main thing that it builds is it builds lateral thinking skills. That the moment you get a topic, how do you ideate? So what do I mean with this? Any topic maybe you can talk about, but how do you talk about it in a sufficiently interesting way to give a good speech and hold attention? So you have to inject things that are either novel or different. Okay, how do you do it? Like say for example, any topic, if you look at 3 views, the French view, maybe the Indian view, and maybe some other view, or a generational view, a very senior generation view, a young person's view, and maybe a teenage view. Can you understand? So, this is how we teach thinking skills, or look at it from the opponent's point of view. How do you take, given a topic, kind of agree with it, learn to disagree with it, and then present a middle ground? So, this is how, with every single exercise, the most important skill here is thinking, because genuinely we believe at SpeakSmart that that is the one thing that is going to help them survive the age of AI. Okay, it is not even learning AI. It is being adaptable, and to be adaptable, you have to be smart and learn to think, not just follow syllabus. All right. So I'm just going to give you a quick peek into level 6 and stop, because it is a long syllabus and I'll not get into details. Level 6 we recommend for all our college going students, adults, and of course our seniors, grade 9s, grade 10s, all that. So here there is, the first thing is how to pitch an idea. Second, because the CV and the interview section, it is very relevant how to take an interview. And most of my senior students have come back and told me, ma'am, this has been so useful in our life, whether you're looking for a mentor, whether you want to crack a course which nobody is getting, or whether you want a job. Okay. So again, there is impromptu speaking at level 6, but we grade it up. So there, if it was one word, here we take a paradox, an idiom, we take different formats of, again, we step it up, which helps a lot with maybe your group discussion and things like that, even up to an MBA stage. Okay. Then speech analysis for growth. You choose a speech that really appeals to you, and you figure out how to grow from it. Okay. Then there's reflection, not getting into the details. Uh, Trinity has a similar syllabus. I will share it with you also. So here, Trinity also, as you will see, has a very similar syllabus. They do not have elements like debate. They do not have elements like negotiation. They do not have elements like impromptu speaking. It is still a good syllabus, which I recommend. And what so I'll share with you what we have been recommending of late is, you see, Trinity or ICSC or ISC are all very, very good. But because it takes so long and they are kind of institutionalized, change is very kind of slow in all these boards. Okay, so whether it remains relevant for a long time, we don't know. But in SpeakSmart, we are able to constantly update our syllabus to make it absolutely real world relevant. Okay, so that becomes a change, the guidance that we give. Also, obviously, the pricing. We will share the pricing with you later. Trinity is much more expensive. Aristri is much more reasonable. We'll get into the details of all of that later. So generally, what we recommend for all our students is for the junior school and for the younger students, take Aristri because you get your certification, your skill building happens. For the higher levels, when you feel that after class 9 or class 10, I won't be able to appear for any more exams, then I need it maybe and I want to go to college in America or UK, then it is better to take a Trinity certification. All right. But we will train for both and we will share details that will help you kind of choose. But like I said, both the exams are highly recommended. So you may ask me what happens for students who decide not to appear for the exam. Okay, that is also an option. So what happens is we highly recommend it. Most of our students, like over 90% students do take the appear for the exam. For the few who do not appear for the exam, whatever the reason be, maybe financial, maybe something else, what we do is we still mock prepare the student for the exam. How we select the level is we kind of recommend a level depending on our observation of the child. We also talk to the student to say how much can you manage. Okay, so with that in mind, like you have a lot of other things because it has to be your work. It is not mom's work or dad's work or our work. We will help you. So that is how we decide on the level. So for the student not appearing for the exam, we mock prepare them. They don't ultimately get to appear because we cannot in SpeakSmart have two separate sessions where we are doing. It's like a school going into exam. So if we are prepping, we will prep everybody according to their level. And even in a single class, okay, it is not that everybody in that class is appearing for a level 5 or a level 4 or a level 3. We personalize it completely. We will have conversations with the child. We will see what is the best and the most appropriate for your son or daughter. We will choose that accordingly. And as they present, they learn and grow from each other. Okay, so with that, I've kind of more or less said what I've had to say, that these are short exams, maybe 10 minutes, maybe, 15 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. And this is the end product that you have. We recommend it. So I'm happy to now take any questions that you might have.
3 months back. Uh, is it a good decision to make them appear for exam or wait for another year and then make them appear?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So here, actually, we will leave the decision up to you. Okay, what happens is you see, whether it's Trinity or whether it's Aristry, it is leveled. Okay, so it is very much possible for a student who has recently joined to appear for the exam. And it what happens is today, I don't know whether we have any seniors joining or we'll ask them to join later if time permits. It really
Ma'am, I'm
grows the
here.
child up. That exposure is excellent. Oh, Rajveer is here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Rajveer, you want to say anything about did the exam shape you in any way?
Um, yes, it really shaped me. It shaped. So when I joined Speak Smart, I was very shy, and under the guidance of Vishaka ma'am and Sreela ma'am, it really
No,
shaped
Rajveer, will
me.
you come to the point of what the exam experience is like? Would you find the examiners are aggressive or they are thoughtful, or how does the exam experience go?
Ma'am, the exam experience is very good. Speaking from the core of my heart, it's very interesting to speak with the examiners, and it is very encouraging to go with them also.
Hmm.
So.
Okay. So
Devansh.
having said that, I will still have a discussion and see, because I don't want to. So it is definitely, even if the student has just done, see, two reasons why we recommend it. A, the examination shapes them. Okay. And B, what happens is if the whole class is going on exam mode for that one student, often they feel very left out that, okay, I prepared, but I didn't appear for it. And we balance it that, maybe prep gets a little thing, then we'll do some other things and keep it light. But it does help.
Thank you so much for addressing my concern, ma'am. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
okay. You're welcome. I
Ma'am.
have Vanshri Agarwal.
Vanishree's mother. Yeah.
Vanishri, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask if can we directly enroll our elder child for a level 5 or level
Yes,
6 who's not doing
absolutely.
it?
And we encourage not only your senior kids, we also encourage parents. Please come and learn for us. Your communication skills will improve.
Okay. And
Absolutely, absolutely. They can do just the Trinity prep of a level 5 or level 6 or level 4 that we will discuss and we will sort out with them
so,
directly.
how long does it take for
Okay.
say, my
So
daughter is in class 10 and she wants to prep
Okay,
for
so that the
okay.
prep will start now. The prep will start now, and the exam will be sometime in November, roughly about 23rd, 24th, straight after Diwali.
So
So, though
approximately
there appears to
4
be,
months or so
yeah, but
needs
you know,
to
it
be.
does it. It's never for first, it's usually once a week. So the months fly. So we start preparation immediately. So reach out and we'll handle that conversation. So anybody, if you have a student, I mean, if you have a child in college or if you have just a senior kid who wants to just do exam prep with us, that is perfectly possible. But reach out to Vishakha ma'am or me and we will tell you, we will guide you through the process. Mostly we will do it online or offline, that also we'll say. Maybe it can also, we have a dedicated online demand, so that is also possible if the student is having trouble traveling.
Hmm. Okay, ma'am. So I'll get back to you on that whenever it's needed. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
of course. You're most welcome. Okay, then I have Shivika Patodia.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
So my concern is that, like Shivika has done a couple of Trinity years already. Now, is it possible for me to let her take a SpeakSmart, the internal exam,
100%.
and
We
later
encourage
when maybe
it.
once, okay,
We encourage it
but
because this is a far better, there are a lot of people with maybe a singing certificate but you can't sing. So we definitely, the quality of the Aristri examination itself, it's far superior. So we encourage the junior students to please go for Aristri, and we will, so if you can tackle, and you can see both these exams are flexible, so it's not that you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. You can directly do, like many of our students will directly do a level 8 in Trinity, and that's fine, and they're easily able to tackle that.
but later in life, like maybe once she's older, can
That's
she
what I'm
again
saying.
switch back to Trinity?
So
So
this is
those,
what we recommend. So this is the
okay,
ideal way that we recommend is the junior years, the more formative years, we recommend a history. Please do it. It's more reasonable and it's a better designed exam. Okay, the skills are far superior. But
okay.
just at the last, whether maybe it's for some people it's a class 10, for some people it's a class 12, some people it's college. I don't know when that is. So at the final level, please appear for Trinity. We will
Okay.
recommend that. Okay.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
that is perfectly possible.
All right.
Does that
Thank you
answer
so
your
much.
question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. You are welcome.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. We have Dhruv Sonthalia.
Good evening, ma'am. My question is regarding the frequency of these examinations. Could you please elaborate on that?
Yeah. So it is once a year. Okay. Because the exam prep itself takes time, and it's, we do a lot of many other skill building activities and the class presentations throughout the year. So usually this is, I think, is a Speak Smart student. So for Speak Smart students, it's one annual day and one exam. Rest of it, they learn from us independently. And for Xavier's, it is usually also, there is, you don't have annual day, but usually Xavier's has a debate competition, which we encourage everybody to participate in. And there is the exam. Both happen once a year.
And my follow-up question is that, for example, if Arush has recently joined, I'm not much aware of these examinations. That's why the question. For example, if he's doing a level 3 and he clears the examination, so the logical next step would he be doing the level 4 next year? Or again, you'd
It is,
recalculate
so
and
what
see how
happens is, so see how we select the level is like, say, for instance, a lot of our senior students, maybe they are going step by step, but then they want to jump a level. That is also possible. But my only thing is, more than at this point, don't worry, we will help them navigate that journey. But at this point, it is very important that his skills are in place and his confidence. He will only tell you, this is what I can handle.
Right. Thank you.
And we do allow them right at the final year to do the highest level that they can, but not just now. At the junior level, we want them, you see, because a negative exam experience, like Rajveer said, the exam experience is important, because if you have a very traumatic exam experience, and I'm not saying just at the performance level, even if the journey of preparation is not enjoyable because you've just been so overwhelmed with trying to cope with 100 things, it is a very unhealthy practice, and then it destroys the self-esteem. That is not what we are here for. So thank you for asking me, but we will guide them through step. And when we are talking about personality development in a public speaking program, this is exactly where it happens, because we encourage every student to take a decision. This is the level, this is how much I can manage, and then be responsible for the consequences. That I took something too ambitious, I hashed it up, that is a realization, and we are gentle with them. Or this is what I took and I really enjoyed the process, this is my independent topic. So it happens from taking responsibility, like you bring in your fees, you do the process. It's not only moms and dads journey. So when you learn to take that responsibility, that is where personality development happens, not just taking that exam and leaving.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Ankur Sarkar.
You hear Devanshi Sara?
Yeah, I can see her. Devanshi is here.
Her videos. Ma'am,
No,
you
she's
have-
here. I've spotlighted her. Vishakha ma'am, you spotlight me.
Hmm.
Devanshi Srishti, and you can put Rajveer also. So Devanshi's is a very unique journey. I just wanted to share with you. Not unique actually. Yeah. So these are Rajveer and Devanshi, and both of them have been with me for a long time. Been with us at SpeakSmart for a long time, and now just wanted to share with you that. And this is Srishti. So the kind of contribution and personality development when we are looking at. So of course, Rajveer has come in and helped in classes. What Srishti and Devanshi have done, and you're both in class, they're both in class 11 now. Srishti? Class 11, they're all in class 11. So they have practically grown up in Speak Smart. So the personality development has happened. So they intern with us. So we have we have college students also interning with us, but our favorite interns are our very own. So when they intern, they are helping us to take class. They are writing reports. They are helping with social media. And Srishti and Devanshi have achieved very unique feats. That is, they have helped me design Aristri as an exam by giving us feedback. They have also last year on a panel been examiners. Like even for Aristri, we train examiners so that they know the criteria and they're able to examine a student. So I can say with a lot of pride that both of them, so look at the kind of college apps they carry, because both of them have been examiners, and I'm really, really proud of that today. And you want to share your experience a little bit about the other side? Hated it or loved it, or what happened? Srishti and Devanshi, was it any different to be on the other side interning when you're helping with class or taking an examination? Srishti and then Devanshi.
Ma'am, Srija is also here.
And Srija also. They are all senior. So they are all now appearing for grade 8 in Trinity. You want to share your experiences? Srija, you want to say anything?
I mean, the
Okay, Srishti
experience.
first, then Srija, then Devanshi. Okay, you talk about your experience, Srija. You just had an impromptu speech to take somewhere. How was it?
It was pretty good because I'm very, very used to it at this point because every single week we're sort of doing the same thing, you know. We're given a topic, we prepare it, we present at the same time. So it's something we're
So
very
can you tell
used
us
to.
what it was for?
Like the event.
No, it was a competition. Where was it held? Just tell us a little bit.
It was a competition at Xavier's. Multiple schools were participating. So, you know.
So exuberance. You have to communicate well and tell them exactly.
Yeah, so it was the
All
exuberance
right.
test and multiple schools were there. It went quite well.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Srishti, you want to talk about your experience a little bit?
Okay, so I've been in SpeakSmart for 8 years, and recently I started interning also. So I would say interning is like very different from normal class because then you get to go behind the scenes also. So yeah.
So what do you mean by that? Behind the scenes. Have you helped a shy child or a
Behind the scenes,
difficult student? How have you learned from it?
behind the scenes means in class you get the matter and you get the lesson plan, but then behind the scenes you actually see what goes into making all of it, and it's not very smooth. Like there might be a lot of difficulties. So overcoming that, and for helping a shy kid or a difficult kid, yes, there have been situations in class where, like, as interns you have to help children if they are not being able to ideate, but you don't spoon feed anyone. Like you have to teach them how to think, you can't just tell them what to say. So that has also been like a learning process, like learning how to, like learning what to say, how to teach them.
Okay. Devanshi, you want to share your journey and your
Yes,
personality change also,
yes, ma'am.
if there has been any?
So I have been a part of SpeakSmart for like 5 years or slightly more. And earlier I used to be a very shy person. Like I used to like not speak at all. And now I've actually seen a lot of change in me. Like yesterday, as ma'am mentioned, I was the examiner. So I actually learned so much by examining the students, because like you get to know the challenges the examiner faces, the difficulties, and you also get to learn a lot. So I actually, whatever I learned from being an examiner, I actually applied that to my Trinity exam as well, and I think that really gave me good results as well. And of course, interning and Speak Smart has been a really good journey throughout, and I also get to learn many things. Like the major thing I've started to learn is to give feedback.
Okay. And Srishti, any comments about how you give feedback? Thank you, Devanshi.
So like after all the children present in class, we're asked to give feedback. So ma'am has taught us that we can't just go there and demotivate a person. We can't just straight away start off by saying negative things. Like you have to say what they did well, and you have to tell them that what all, like all the positive things they did, and then you go on to what they improved, so that you don't demotivate them. So that is how you give feedback.
Yeah. And Srija, my question to you is, do you think there's a difference, Srija and Rajveer? Because initially and how many years have you been with me?
I've been here for 8 years now, over 8 years.
Same,
Okay.
over 8 years.
So the thing is, like when you initially came, what kind of feedback did I give and what kind of feedback do I give now? Is there a difference?
Yes, very much so. Initially, when I came to Speak Smart, the feedback was mostly that I was very unanimated while speaking, with hardly any voice modulation, movement, animation. Half the time, I wasn't even audible. And nowadays, the feedback has gone more to the technical things, what I could have mentioned more, what I could have elaborated on, how I could have structured it better. And I can feel a
Yeah.
much better improvement in my delivery and all of that.
Okay. Yeah, and there's the most important ingredient in feedback, which I think I'm going to state, is when Devanshi, Srishti, Srija, and Rajveer were younger, I was very kind with my feedback. But today, the place where they stand, their self-esteem is really there. So I can be much more direct and much more cutting, and they take it in a positive way. You know, that they are not upset that I critiqued it, because they understand it is my job to make them improve. So that also, is a process. Now they are looking to exactly what could I do better, versus there was how could I speak. So it's a huge difference there, isn't it, Rajveer?
Ma'am, I completely agree with you.
Okay. So with that, today, should I kind of close the session? Unless anybody else has any questions, we'd like to say good night to you.